Peter Thompson's final aggregate breaks the record for a Hoylake Open by 1 stroke, and he's the first player for 74 years to win the Open 3 times running.
The winner of the gold medal, the champion golfer for the year with a score of 272 in Baker Finch. And the champion golfer for the year with a score of 267, Greg Norman.
And with a score of 268, the winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
Yes, indeed. All thanks to Callaway on the week of the 154th Open Championship. What a week it is, and how good is it to welcome you, whether you're an existing member or a new member, to the Course Language podcast. All thanks to Callaway, Sam Hargraves, Ryan Lynch. I'm not even going to do the intros, Lynchy, because there's so much to get through. Yeah. Hello to you, my friend. And it's an incredibly exciting week, but it's a little bittersweet because it's the last major of the year, my friend.
Hello, Sammy. It is very bittersweet. It really does feel like major season comes and goes really quickly these days. Yeah. It's very condensed. We've got the President's Cup to still look forward to, obviously. But, yeah, look, I love the Open Championship week. Ask me at the end of the year, this is my favourite. Ask me in April, things might change, the Masters and the Open Championship. But this is the one we look forward to. This is the one that I love. The venue changes every year. You get a little bit of a different taste of how golf is played elsewhere around the world. And I think it was Justin Rose that came out with a quote this week talking about you never get used to a venue for the Open Championship, because 2017, obviously we can talk about this a little bit later on, there's been some restorations, there's been some changes to Royal Birkdale, but in 2017 we might have got heavy wind or a bit of rain, and this summer it's been incredibly dry and firm and fast. So you really get to enjoy the different life cycle of a golf course in the Open Championships depending on what year you're playing, and you never really get settled with it. It doesn't play the same every single time it comes around. So I'm ecstatic, mate. I love this week, as you know, and I know you do too. But first and foremost, anything with all this golf that's been going on, what about your golf? How's it all been going?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Justin Rose as a good quote to start with, because the other quotes we're going to get through are all to do with dying. So our best players in the world are just really consumed with their own mortality at the moment this week, but we'll get to that as well. I've had a great couple of weeks of being able to play. I was invited down by a mate of Nico's, and a mate of mine, Andrew Furzy, a world-class music producer. He and his brother and some of their mates were one short and said, come down to Lonsdale Links and jump in. So we went down there and played essentially a 2-ball Ambrose around a course that is so much fun to play, Lonsdale Links. The Reno that they did a couple of years ago, I reckon it was. It is a really fun course, and there's just a bit of everything for everyone. So we had a 2-ball Ambrose. I think we finished up 3 over. I was on hole-in-one watch and thinking that this is it, this is happening. It was about 4 foot from the hole, but it's optical illusion on the 12th, I reckon it was, the second of the par threes on the back nine, actually the 14th. And anyway, and Furs actually put his within an inch on 2, pin high. It was one of the best shots. There. So we had a great day. We don't talk about the Bellarine as much as we probably should, but, Barwon Heads and 13th Beach and Lonsdale Links now, we're playing Kerr Lewis with the Teed Up lads for their charity day. It's good golf down there. So I can highly, highly recommend. And I actually went and played today, Lynchy. Nobody jumped in my group for Thursday comp at Cheltenham. I was in the last of the morning group, so clearly I'm very popular at that golf club. So because no one played comp, I couldn't enter. No one joined the group, so I couldn't enter comp. So I actually played a 2-ball Ambrose with myself and just tried to essentially worked on 2 things. Hit the shot that I wanted to hit, and then what was another option even if that one worked, what was something else I could do? So sometimes, if it was a hole I'd normally take 3 wood on, could I take less? Could I use, let's see how the driver would go, and would it put me in a better position? If I was 80 out, am I trying to flush a 54, or am I trying to ease off a fit? Like, I was practicing all those things, and all I was working on was takeaway today, just trying not to get behind myself with the club. And I actually finished 1 over. with my 2-ball, with my Ambrose, with myself. So I had a great morning, and was really happy with how I was hitting and putting.
Brilliant.
It's amazing when
Excellent.
you've got a safety net, how relaxed you are. Even when that safety net was me, which didn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence, but it's a funny mental thing, that idea that your provisional is always going to be a better shot. That idea that not everything rides on this.
Yeah.
And in the end, my first ball was often my best ball. So it was a great morning. Very happy.
Brilliant. Well, I've been fortunate enough to play a couple of times this week myself. And we spoke a little bit about a little while ago in previous episodes. I played my first qualifier at Rossdale. Didn't perform very well, but noticeably I was just a little bit tighter, given that I'm out of reps for competitive golf. So I've actually been playing really, really nicely in club comps, in club competitions. Given how little I'm practicing, I had 6 under the other day at Yarra Bend and played pretty nicely, solid enough today in the cold, wet conditions at Heritage and shot a couple under. But I've been paying attention to just how free I am in these club comps, how effortlessly I'm walking around the golf course, how little stress there is, whether it's a par putt or a birdie putt or a bogey putt, or just paying attention to how freely I'm swinging the golf club, so that when I do play a couple of pro-ams later on in the year, or if I do play a bit more competitive golf, hopefully I can sort of key into that a little bit, as difficult as it can be sometimes to bring your practice into competitive stuff. That's what I've been focusing on a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but very fortunate this week to have played 2 times already, Sammy. It must be the Open Championship, just a bit of luck coming my way with the kids and whatnot.
Well, I was going to ask, that's good, because you don't often get to play that many times in a month, let alone a week. So I was going to ask you, given that the handicap now is an even 13, is 1 over in a 2-ball Ambrose with myself, is that good, bad, okay?
I would say it's solid enough, particularly given that you were changing club, right? So if you're changing your shot, changing the shape of shot that you're hitting, not hitting exactly the same style and same club for every single hole, you're essentially not prepping, right? So you've got a feel for the yardage, but you don't have a feel for the exact shot that you're playing. So 1 over is great going. I think that if you went out there off 13 on your own ball, something around that sort of even par, 1 under, 1 over mark would be good going, I would say. I reckon you could shoot well under par if you were hitting each shot exactly the same way as the first shot each time. But I don't think you get as much out of it.
I did that sometimes, but mostly it was, all right, can I hit a draw with this one? Or I'm going to try and hit a fade with this one.
Brilliant.
Just, again, because it's just that the idea of that, if that's where you always play, do you always play the same? And if that's not available to you, am I good enough now to do it the other, like do it in a different way? Was sort of the challenge of the morning. I've got to ask you this.
Get better doing it the way you were doing it. Yeah.
The challenge that you set me about filming every par 3, geez, and that's, I've got to say, my God, that's getting annoying.
You can pull back on it if you like, mate. It'll be the one that you make.
No. If I had have made it with the second ball today, does it count?
Oh, we actually saw this. Lucas Herbert had a hole-in-one at Royal Lytham, I believe, with his second ball. And Cam Smith said,
"Did he do it 2 days in a row?"
No, he nearly did the second day. Nearly holed it, but hit one, re-teed, had another crack, dobbed it, and the boys were laughing. Nice par, Lucas.
That's right, I did see that.
And Herbie did say, no, can't count that one. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll have to throw that out to listeners. I know we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
And I know the DP World Tour do 100 balls trying to get a hole-in-one on the same tee with the same club, and that brings players to tears just about. So, look, it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? A one's a one, ultimately, but I think if you've hit the same, I think what you should do if you're going to have 2 cracks at it, go to a different tee. Then I think you can nearly count it. Like if you have a crack off given that Cheltenham's a 9-hole course and you've got 2 options, if you play off the blues and then hit one off the whites on your 2 days, I think you can count it from a different tee.
Yeah, because I had one today on for the second time around, and I'd had a full 9-iron shot launch. And then I tried an easy low 8-iron punch, and the low 8-iron punch bounced just before the green and would have just shaved the edge of the pin. Like it was, and I was getting a little bit, What if it goes in? What does it
What
mean?
do I do?
What do I do?
Brilliant.
All right. So
Hey,
that's our
that's
golf
good stuff.
done and dusted for another week. Hey, just before we jump in, I want to get this on the agenda straight away because thanks to our very good friends at Callaway, we've been lucky enough as we were for the April major, which was the Masters. We are lucky again with the July major. These major series balls, the Chrome Tour balls that Callaway are releasing, are just one of the most sought after golf balls getting around. I've had that many people ask, did you get any? Can I have one of it? People ask me can I get one? And I thought, I don't have any. We gave them away. We're lucky enough to have the July Major Series golf ball, all thanks to Callaway, the Chrome Tour. We're going to do it exactly the same way, Lynchy, as we did it last time. We want you we'll put the post up on our Instagram, tag 3 friends that you would take on your ultimate trip, maybe to Royal Birkdale if you're ever going to play it. They can be celebrities too. Feel free to tag as many notable people as possible into the competition. But there's a twist this time. So you have to follow us on Instagram. You have to be a Course Language member and click on to subscribe to the podcast. But you also now have to subscribe to our YouTube. So there's 3 things you have to do. Follow us, tag your mates, follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Apple Podcast, whatever it is, and subscribe to our YouTube as well. Very, very simple. If you've ticked those boxes, we'll draw the winner just like we did last time after the Open Championship all finishes up. And we're very, very grateful to Callaway for sending a box of those our way because they are rare as rocking horse. You know what, Lynchy? And everybody.
Very good.
Have you got an all in the tips for us this week, given it is an Open Championship?
I do. And speaking of the YouTube, you'll find these on there as well. We will release them to our Instagram and other socials as well. But given that it's the Open Championship week and Royal Birkdale, often a lot of these links golf courses, the bunkers play significantly larger than what they actually look. A lot of the turf, a lot of the fairway ground, it's really firm this week. A lot of balls will be rolling into bunkers. They play bigger. And the thing about these pot bunkers is that you do need to get the ball up nice and quickly. Okay, so there is a skill and an art to that. And if you check out the video that we released this week, there's a way that you can go and practice this. So number one thing is obviously open up the club face. Ensure that the bounce of the club is the thing that's going to be entering the sand as you start to swing into the sand. So the bounce of the club is the sole of the club. So when you open up the club face, the back of the club is the part of the face that you need entering the sand. The tighter the sand, which we don't really see at the Open Championship unless it's like very wet, the less bounce you will require. So the softer the sand, the more bounce is good. The firmer, harder, compact sand, the less bounce is good. So I don't necessarily have to open up the club face when it's compact. But from there, we really want that club head traveling up quite steeply. Now, I don't mean lift the handle of the club up steeply. I mean get the wrists nice and relaxed, get the hands soft, and allow that club head to swing up into the air with that open club face and back down just behind the ball. So slightly steeper angle of attack. Not that you're pulling the handle down either. It's not handle. I'm really pushing for the club head to be the winner here. We're looking for club head speed, not club handle speed. So the steeper it works up, the more you can thud down into the sand, and just make sure that that entry point is slightly closer to the ball than you think. So you can draw a circle around a ball, or you can draw a circle in the sand, better yet, about the size of your palm, give or take. And your objective is to land the bounce of the club at the back of the circle, splash that circle the size of your palm out onto the green. If the sand pops out nice and high, you know the ball will pop out nice and high as well. So give that a crack next time you're working on your bunkers. And I would say draw 3 circles the size of your the palm of your hand, hit 2 without a ball, and then put the ball in the 3rd one right in the middle of that circle and give that a go.
And with these, my biggest issue with bunkers has always been that I try to hit it as hard as I possibly can. For years, I tried to do that. Just hit it as hard as you can and it'll get its way out. It was only when I actually started slowing, not slowing down, but actually just getting much more of a smoother tempo to this rather than chopping in at the sand.
Yep.
That I was actually way more consistent out of bunkers. So is that a bit of a myth about bunkers? You got to hit it as hard as you can?
Depends what you mean by hard and where you're developing your speed or what in your mind is hard. So exactly, as you said.
Chopping down, that's what I was doing.
Chopping down.
Yeah.
If you picture what you're trying to do when you get a ball out of a plugged lie, for example, there is quite a bit of handle lean, isn't there? You need to get the leading edge in. That's a different type shot, right? You need quite a bit of handle lean. You can hit it out of the heel. You can close the face and hit it out of the toe when it's plugged like that. But that is a chop down. That's handle traveling down. What we're looking for is club head traveling down, handle actually kind of staying up where it was originally and having the club head swing past the handle and down into the sand, and the bounce will kick back up. So the club head actually does pass the handle, not the handle staying in front of the club head. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. All in the tips. It'll be up on Instagram. We'll start putting those on our YouTube as well. Let's get into around the grounds.
Strikes it firm. It's a par for Tom Kim. And the clubhouse lead is set at 17 under. What a performance from the 24-year-old.
All right, well, we are in our sexy new time slot on Course Language, all thanks to Callaway. Coming to you on a Thursday record now to preview the weekend, get you ready for your golf, tell you all about the golf that's to come. But it's worth just backtracking over the results of the weekend, Lynchy. And we'll start with the Evian, the fourth major on the women's tour this year or internationally. Hayron Ryu did what Nelly Corder has done earlier this year and win two majors on the bounce. And it's the first time in history that there's been two multiple major winners in the same season on the LPGA. She beats Brooke Henderson, who won this event previously, who started the day 6 shots back in a playoff, and she's now up to number 3 in the world, Hayron Ryu. And we've been remarking over the last couple of years how much that the women's tour share majors around. So for this year to be 4 majors held by 2 women is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. We were talking about it last year. There was, I think, a different winner every single week on the LPGA Tour, which is remarkable. So, yeah, no, it was pretty fascinating. I mean, it goes again to how difficult it is to back up a really low round. So, Hayron Ryu shoots a 60 in round 3, obviously, as you said, takes that lead and didn't have a birdie all her final round until the final hole that got her into the playoff. So it was fascinating to watch. And the interesting thing, and the reason we're going over this as well, is that we did have some tips this week, mate, and we can go across the you can give us a bit more of a rundown on that. But yeah, interesting to see 2 women holding all of the majors at the moment. But go through a little bit of the Evian, because I want to talk about what the ruling is going to be for whoever won or lost this week.
Yeah, look, not a whole lot of great news to report, Lynchy, from an Australian point of view, given how successful we've been at this event over the years. But Lydia Ko, the best Australasian-ranked player, finished in the tie for 7th. T26 with Cassie Porter and Carice Davidson, so they had a really good major and pocket, just over 70 grand each. But every other Aussie in the field, unfortunately, missed the cut, which was a bit of a surprise. As I said, we've gone really well at this tournament over the years with multiple winners. Minjee, Grace Kim, they missed the cut as well. And Kelsey Bennett, who we thought would have been a really good shout, having performed well there on the LET earlier in the year, didn't make the cut either. Shot 74 and 70. Just before we get to our selections in a new game that we like to play, which is sort of schoolyard rules, the Scottish Open, it's always sort of the gateway tournament to the Links season that is. Tom Kim, man, just came out of, didn't come out of nowhere, because he had obviously a really good tournament, but a 2-shot win over Minwoo Lee, who had to finish up his third round in the morning and then come back to play in the final group for his final round. 2-shot win. It was his first win in just over 3 years, I think it was. That's 4 wins on the PGA now, heading into a major that he had his best finish at in 2023 at Royal Liverpool when Brian Harman won. Tom Kim, I'm going to say it again. I did say that this would be the breakout year after that breakout year, and he's proving me right at the moment. He now has more PGA wins than Ludwig Åberg, which I reckon is worth noting, because they're both 24 years of age. Everybody's a matter, it's when, not if, that Ludwig's going to win a major. It hasn't quite happened yet, but Tom Kim now has more PGA wins than Ludwig, and it was a a fantastic performance from Tom.
Yeah, it was very impressive for a bloke who was not exempt into any of the majors a couple of weeks ago. Finishes in that, finishes top 3 at the US Open and punches his ticket for all the majors given that result, and then comes out and wins. So you're exactly right. I mean, he's a great ball striker, has been in the wilderness a little bit, but unfortunately pipped our Minwoo Lee, but otherwise I don't have a problem seeing Tom Kim get it done. It's a bigger question in terms of, okay, what's better for you, or how do you develop quicker? If you're comparing the likes of Ludwig versus Tom Kim, what prepares you more for the PGA Tour? Is it getting out there, turning pro and getting reps as quickly as you can? Or is it sticking around in college, learning how to win, dominating in that area, and then coming out a little bit later on? I mean, their careers will obviously unfold over the course of the future. Tom Kim's been around for a lot longer in terms of tour starts than Ludwig at the moment. But I'm starting to tend to lean towards the sooner you can get out there, the sooner you can get yourself amongst the very best, the better it is for your game if you're capable.
He had 65, 66, 68, and 64 in that final round. It was his lowest round. Minwoo, 3 days of 66s and then that 67. Minwoo pocket just under $1 million, by the way, for that second place finish. Cam Davis had his best result for the year, Lynchy, tied 21st. Just outside the top 20 for Cam Davis. Ryan Fox, Carl Phillips tied for 30. Adam Scott finished in a tie for 66th. And Daniel Hillier, somewhat surprisingly, missed the cut. Any other takeaways from you from the Scottish Open?
No, I was just keeping a little bit of an eye on who was doing well from our tips, to be honest. Nothing else. I mean, this is the big week. That's been and gone with Open Championship week. We didn't get clarification on this. Now, I have done the numbers, and I'm thinking regardless of who wins this, it's going to be a challenge that can help both of our games. So I'm proposing the loser of this challenge has to hole 500 3-foot putts in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, gee. I need to get my measuring tape out.
Yeah, about the length of your putter.
Something tells
about
me
the length of your putter.
Something tells me I've lost. So just go up there and you got to and you got to record it and just keep going bang 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 bang.
You can record it if you fancy. Record at least a little bit. But it doesn't matter how many you miss. What I would do is I would set up 3 or 5 tees around a hole and hole 50 from each tee, essentially twice. And make sure you put a towel underneath your feet so you don't do any damage to the greens, because you'll be over the same putt for quite a long time. But
that's great advice.
Yeah,
that's great advice. Looking
chuck
after
a
your
towel
course.
under. Absolutely, chuck a towel under.
I'll agree to this if I get to pick the challenge for the loser of this week, because you and I are playing with the Teed Up boys at their charity event coming up next week.
Yeah.
So I think I've got a little challenge for the loser and what they may or may not have to play that round with or without.
Okay, sounds good.
Done.
So you ready for the results?
All right, I'm ready for the
look. I mean, regardless of result, I think we should almost both do this anyway. It's never a bad thing to hit 500 3-footers. Just go and do it. Just get it done.
So this was what, if you didn't tune in last week, what we decided to do instead of just giving tips now is that we have gone through the lines of betting, and we picked 2 players that are on the same or similar lines of betting, and it's a toss of the coin to see who goes first, and we just take it in turns. Whoever goes first gets to pick the player they want, and then we just go back and forth until we've got 6 players each, and the lowest score, cumulative score or combined score, wins for that tournament. We went 3 from the Scottish Open, 3 from the Evian. How did we go, Lynchy? I've got the teams that we had. Have you got them written there?
I do. You can call them out if you fancy. I can run through. Do you want just the results, or do you want to build a little bit of suspense here, man?
Let's go through them line by line and see who got the win. So the first up was Gino and Nelly Corder.
So Gino, you had at 11 under par. Bang. Nelly Corder, I had missed the cut, 1 over.
Wasn't a good week to be a world number 1, was it?
Exactly right. 12 shots adrift at the moment. You took Lottie Wode.
Yes.
I took Heiju Kim. Lottie Wode, 8 under par. Heiju Kim, 6 under par. So I'm still well back at the moment.
It's a good lead. It's a good lead.
This one was a bit of a change-up. You took Hannah Green, understandably. Yep. Actually, no, I took Lydia Ko
you took
with
Lydia
the
Ko
first pick.
Yeah,
and she had 13 under par. You took Hannah Green, who unfortunately missed the cut at 1 over. So
Yep.
you could have wiped me off the board there.
That could have been it done.
That could have been it done. After the Evian, you're sitting at 18 under with the help of Hey Ju Kim and Lydia Ko. I'm sitting at 18 under.
So we were even.
Yes.
Wow.
Even Stevens through the Evian. Okay, on to even Stevens. On to the Scottish Open.
This is actually might be where I helped myself inadvertently, because I had the choice of Scheffler or McIlroy, and even though Rory's got the most unbelievable record at Renaissance, I went Scheffler. And
who missed his first cut in about 4 years with even par. I took Rory at 12 under, so 12-shot lead after one player there. You took Matty Fitz. I took Ludwig Aberg.
Yep.
Ludwig missed the cut. 1 under, though, thankfully. Just missed the cut on the number. Fitzy, 13 under. So you're thereabouts. You're close. We're both even at the moment. It came down to Marco Penge and JJ Spawn, to which you took Marco. He missed the cut at 1 under.
He did.
JJ Spawn made the cut at 3 under. So a 2-shot victor to Ryan Lynch.
Well done, mate.
500 3-footers.
500 3-footers. What happens if I don't finish them all? I'll just have to keep ticking them off.
You'll have to keep doing them. You're not allowed to ask. You can't set a challenge without finishing a challenge. I reckon, honestly, it sounds like a lot, but if you did 50 putts from each tee, it's probably going to take you maybe an hour. So it's 2 hours of putting practice, I reckon.
Well, I'm more than happy to do it. I'll just have to explain to the beautiful Evie that there's a reason why I'm up at the golf course every night for the next 2 weeks.
Exactly.
No, that's nicely done. And we've got more selections that have been predetermined from our producer, Nico, and we're going to unveil those to pick our teams for this week. Loser has to do the challenge that I get to set this week. All right, let's get into it because...
I think the challenge needs to make you better at golf, doesn't it? Or not?
No.
It can be any challenge. Okay, sure.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Sure.
Okay, let's get into previewing the last major of the year. How exciting and a little sad is this? The 154th Open Championship, Lynchy, Royal Birkdale, widely regarded as one of the best open venues outside St Andrews. It's hosted 11. This is the 11th time hosting. Winners include, going back to 1954, Peter Thompson won his first there. Arnold Palmer, Peter Thompson again in 65, won his 5th. Lee Trevino, 71. Johnny Miller, who could forget that, in 1976. Even though I wasn't born, I have gone back and watched it. The 6-stroke win. Tom Watson in 1983. He won his 5th at Birkdale. Ian Baker Finch, one of the great moments in Australian sport, let alone golf, a winner there in 1991. Beat Mike Harwood, another Australian. Mark O'Meara in 1998. Padraig Harrington in 2008. And then Jordan Spieth in 2017. The drama on 13. One of the great finishes to a final round in a major. I think it was birdie, eagle, birdie, birdie. Just extraordinary what he was able to do to get that win in 2017. And it hosts again this year in 2026. We've had Peter Thompson 5 times, Kel Nagle, Greg Norman twice, Ian Baker Finch, Cam Smith the most recent. We've had 13 Aussies runner-up at Open Championships over the years, Lynchy. It's been a tournament that has had a special place in Australian hearts. Last year's winner, Scotty Scheffler. There's just something quite special about the Open Championship. Yeah, there is. The gold medal, the champion golfer of the year. And the reason, I mean, look, Birkdale is look at any of the courses and they're going to show up greats of the game very regularly. There may not be a more incredible list than this one at Royal Birkdale. It is a ball striker of all ball strikers course. And this golf course was actually designed to be a championship golf course. So it was designed and built for that purpose, and recently has changed quite a bit. So the golf holes that you recognise for Jordan Spieth's final round, obviously Greg Norman went so close in 2008 as well, where Padraig Harrington won. Norman was the final round leader at the ripe old age of 53 as well. So fascinating watch always. 2024 redesigned by Tom McKenzie, so the McKenzie and Ebert, who do a lot of the
in fact, basically all the restorations to Open Championship courses, open router courses at the moment. We can dive into that another time potentially. I don't want anything to bring any shine off this great championship because I'm incredibly excited. Particularly, did you see Mav McNeely bouncing that golf ball off the fairways this week, Sammy?
Yeah, I did. You sent it through to us, and again, there was a real excitement about you with that, and obviously a bit different in 2017 because they got a fair bit of rain and there was a lot of wind, so it was a lot greener back in 2017, and I was just having a look at because they're on the range today and they're doing all the previews and everything like that, and some of the changes they were highlighting, and there are some really tough holes on this golf course, but now even harder. Like there's a beast of a par 4, I think it's the 6th, which dog legs to the right and then goes uphill from there, and there's two bunkers set at the elbow, the inside elbow, but if you try and fly those, then there's a bunker on the far elbow, and then you can run out into a creek, and then if you lay up though, you've then got to hit like over 200 uphill blind second shot to an elevated. It's this hole's going to be gripping to watch, and there's 17 others that'll be a massive challenge as well.
Absolutely. So, that hole, the 6th, averaged 4.76 for their stroke last time around in 2017, which a lot of par 5s don't average that. They average less than 4.76 often. So it shows how much of a brute that is. Look, this golf course is known widely as the fairest test. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily my favorite on the open road. I haven't actually played here, so it's just from my little bit of research and things like that. But for the most part, the fairways are quite flat. There's not a great deal of blind tee shots. When you go and play links courses, there's often blind shots, and regularly you could be understood for thinking, okay, well, links courses, you can sort of blow it everywhere and you can get a bit lucky, or you can hit it on a long way offline and still find it and be okay. Well, not so much here at Royal Birkdale. It's known as the fairest test because the shot value's there. Okay, so more or less the further offline you miss it, the deeper the rough is going to get and the more difficult your next shot's going to be. You may find it, but your penalty for missing it wide around here is going to be significantly higher than, say, at maybe St Andrews Old Course, for example, where you can kind of just sort of miss it and find your ball, but you'll be blocked out with an angle. So the shot values around here are very, very high. As you mentioned, a lot of bunkers on the insides of dog legs, which asks these players, okay, do you want to lay up or do you want to go over? And if you go over and they're nice and firm, like the fairways are, it just means that because of the dog leg, you're more than likely going to be running into some rough. You'll be closer to the green, so that'll be the fascinating watch over the next 4 days as to whether or not you're still better off being close to the green to where you can sort of bounce it up and get it on the green with the wedge, or whether you're better off laying back. Time will tell. But I heard John Rahm talking about the fact that his 5-iron was going 270 yards today. So very, very difficult. It adds an element that these guys don't see very often to where you actually have to judge your rollout and judge the amount of pace that is on the ball once it hits the green, which very rarely do these guys have to worry about. And it just adds an extra test, an extra element of, if you flight it lower, it's going to run further. If you flight it higher, it's going to run less. So the Open Championship is the ball strikers championship to where who can control their ball the best and who has the total control over where they're pitching and the best feel for the course for that week to set up as many birdies as possible. Now, I think we're probably still going to be double digits under par, but this is much more like an Irish type looking links than it is an English or Scottish type looking links. There are a lot of dunescapes that frame these holes. They don't come into play as much as I would like them to come into play. There's not a great deal of quirk or unfairness out there, which is why a lot of the players really enjoy this stop off at the Open Championship, Sammy.
Yeah, and it's in a part of England too that's really accessible, so the crowds are going to be big, and we've seen that over the journey before, and it's got some great natural amphitheatres, very similar to Royal Melbourne, the way that you can tier people up and they can sort of get stack up sort of one behind each other, which makes the drama and the visual, I think, when you're watching at home, all the cooler, I think. So it is a great fans golf course too. When I've been going back and watching the videos, I watched 2017 the other day, and gee, that was an incredible Open. Like, there's so many stories going on in that moment and over those 4 days. But even going back to 1991, where it was all really about Seve, and it starts off with him lost somewhere and getting back out into play in only the ways that Seve can, and the way that he laughed with the crowd and just did it in his own way. But so the crowd are very much on top of the action in this, and crowds have been spoken about a lot. We mentioned it last week that there are going to be signs around encouraging people to behave accordingly. We don't want to see repeats of what we have at big tournaments, probably, over the last couple of years, mainly centered around one geographical location in the US. But they're really big into that. And there's been a lot of discussion from the players about what's causing some of this. So, yes, there's parochialism, and yes, there's a bit of, heroes and villains kind of thing. But they also, some of the players are just really talking openly now about social media, the demand from fans to always be accessing the players when they're out on course. Like, there's no chance to have a break now because you're always being filmed. So, if you see Wu trying to have a vape, or if you're Charlie Hull who likes to have a dart, no, there's none of that anymore, and you're always on. So the players feel an extra bit of tension with the social media, and also betting in golf, they believe, is causing a fair bit of the abuse that's being thrown, especially on that final day with Wyndham. There's players who are saying, well, no, because everybody had their money on Scotty. Everyone thought, and then Wyndham comes and does what he does, and people cracked it. So the players really do believe now that that's having an impact on the way that the fans are speaking. So I'm fascinated to see how this is going to play out. People have spoken about Royal Liverpool when Brian Harman maybe didn't get treated as well as he could have, but that's been met very quickly with, that's the exception, not the rule. We're seeing it. We rarely see behaviour like that in the UK when it comes to golf. Because as you've said, you've travelled all through there. It's a way of life. It's part of it. This is the home of, Scotland, the home of golf, but the UK believes that it is the epicenter, the heart of it. And, they're not as wankery about it as the English cricket team, who think they're the holders of everything that is the spirit of cricket. But they do take that role very seriously as the home of golf. So I'm expecting great crowds, great level of engagement and behaviour, and I think it'll hopefully put some of that to bed, of what we've been experiencing.
It's a great place to view the Open Championship because there are such high dunescapes, as you mentioned. It's a great Open to go to as you play through a lot of those dunescapes. Classically and typically across the history of this championship, the crowds understand the difference between a good shot and a poor shot, and you don't get applauded for a poor shot. You get applauded for a good shot, and sometimes a great shot is hitting it to 20 feet, and for the most part they take a real pride in over there understanding the difference between a great shot and a good shot. And look, not condoning this or at all, but the Open Championship is probably going to be bigger this year than it's ever been in its history, in terms of the amount of people that are coming through the gates, the amount of infrastructure that needs to be there to hold these big events, and there's just more interest in the sport probably, as well as anything else. So, I mean, look, you have these problems everywhere. If you're going to have a punt, you're the one taking the risk. It's not the player that owes you anything. And I think if there's a little bit of education around that, and people just don't act like a fool, I think that it's going to be okay this week. I would be amazed if it was not good. And I know that the RNA and I know that the people who are walking the fairways around there will be kicking people out almost instantly, if not instantly, for any unruly behaviour.
Hey, Legacy's been coming up a lot this week, and I get the feeling it's because for the first time, I think, since 1993, there's going to be an Open Championship without Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, and we know the reasons why for both of them, and there's more and more getting revealed about Phil, and I don't know if we'll ever see him on a golf course again. The reports that are coming through about the way in which he's been conducting himself, the memberships that have been taken off him, the stories of propositioning other players, all wives, and all this stuff has been spoken about in hushed voices and on golf courses probably for many, many years, Lynchy.
Yep.
But now it's being put in ink. and spoken about very openly and being reported on very strongly, and with people going on the record in regards to it. So it's not. One is a fall from grace. Tigers is a strange thing. Nick Faldo's been speaking about it, saying that the tour will look after him and he'll still be a part of it, but maybe there's got to be a firmer hand taken with him, and that was the view of Nick Faldo, that you've got to sort of ask some hard questions of Tiger perhaps about where he's at and what's going on. But the questions being put to Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy this week, and I just wanted to have a listen.
How concerned are you with your legacy past when you'll be on this earth? How concerned are you with how you'll be viewed in 100 years? Do you think about that kind of thing? Does it matter to you since you won't be here? I mean, how does that go?
No, I don't really care. I would like to think that the people that love and care about me think a certain way of me, but yeah, I'll be long gone. I'll be dead. I don't think I'll be seeing what people say about me. I'll be 6 feet under. I don't think I'll be a ghost. I don't think I'll be, I don't care.
So a little bit morbid, I've got to say. Scotty's last year, what's the point of it all? Like he was getting, we laughed about it last year that he was getting into his Nietzsche sort of era. What's the point of all of this? And now it's, well, we're all going to be dead anyway. Rory's was interesting because I think if you had asked Rory 2 years ago, he would have had a much firmer and stronger answer that majors was legacy. But I think now with the Grand Slam, do you think that his answer this year very different than what it would have been before he completed the Grand Slam when it comes to his own legacy? I'm going to be dead anyway. So it's up to other people what they say about me.
Yeah, look, I mean, legacy, yeah, it's an interesting term, isn't it? Like, are we talking about the legacy beyond your years, or are you talking about Tiger Woods is still alive and he's got a legacy that he upholds? And I just find it fascinating to not change the subject, but how interesting that some of the journos at this time of year in this major, maybe it's the last major of the year, maybe it's just the way that players feel when they come back to the Open Championship, maybe it's just the type of golf that they're playing that makes them feel like a kid again. I don't know, you probably would have heard me gushing and very, very emotional sort of talking about the experience that I had when I was over there. And I'm more interested in that you can get these players to kind of open up and give you a piece of their soul and actually think and be not feel like they're being judged or anything like that, but they can kind of open up pretty amazingly over the last couple of years we've seen at the Open Championship. And I just wonder how much of that is maybe just where you're playing and what event you're playing. And
Yep.
That's more the interesting takeaway for me. I mean, whether or not people remember you or not, you're not going to worry too much about. But speaking of legacy, I am fascinated. I think one of the storylines this week is Justin Rose. And his legacy, like, burst onto the scene at this venue as an amateur, and can he get it done this year? I don't know if you've seen. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. But I think it's called Chasing Forever or Chasing History or something like that around Justin Rose and his pursuit and his non-stop pursuit to try to win the Open Championship, to try to win this Claret Jug. And I think that's a storyline this week, that we've got a lot of Englishmen in the field. We got Justin Rose, obviously. We got Tyrrell Hatton. We got Matty Fitz, who's a favourite, and of course,
Tommy
who can
Fleetwood,
forget
the
Tommy
major,
Fleetwood?
Yeah,
exactly right.
That chat will never go away with him.
Yeah. So in terms of legacy, I think that's the fascinating storyline for me this week. Is can Justin Rose put on that maroon sweater one more time and go out and do it this week? I think this is a golf course that's really going to lend itself well to the older players, the guys that have been around for a lot. We've seen all of those guys who have won at this event before, multiple major winners, aside from Ian Baker Finch, I believe. So this is a tournament and a venue that is going to require some just long-term thinking and a lot of experience, I reckon.
And speaking of legacy, Adam Scott was honoured on the eve of this Open, which actually coincided with his 46th birthday. So we're speaking about Justin Rose, 45 years of age. 1998, I think he was tied for fourth, the Low-Am, as you mentioned. Adam Scott has been announced as the inaugural recipient of the R&A Spirit of Golf Award, which what a tremendous honour. This is going to be his 101st consecutive major. I mean, that's that in itself, given that Jack's the only other person to do it. So I think you're onto something there. We don't get these questions at the PGA Championship unless it's the one that somebody needs to complete the Grand Slam. Yeah. So Jordan Spieth, right? So we don't get it there, but I think at places like Augusta and then for the Open, because it is the oldest major, there's something quite spiritual about being I know there is something quite deeper in all of this. I
wonder whether journalists as well are feeling that sense of history and that sense of, that sense of being in the home of where this great game started, and maybe their questions become a little bit deeper or a little bit more thoughtful. So I'm not 100% sure where it comes from, but it's been consistent the last couple of years where we're getting some sort of deeper answers from a lot of these players.
And I think it will continue. I mean, I think I look at what's happening with Tiger and Phil, and it reminds me of what happens every year around the Hall of Fame with Wayne Carey and Gary Ablett Sr. It's well, when will they be legends? But there's a couple, there's some things that have happened in their lives that might prevent that from happening or delay that from happening. And so there's always this conversation about, should that matter or should that matter? Is it about the hot? So I think there's a bit of that will happen with, with Tiger and Phil. And as I said, I don't know if we'll see Phil on a golf course ever again.
We'll see.
There's a lot to play out with Liv and everything like that. But I mean, he's got personal reasons that he's saying that he's not there for. But yeah,
I heard a take not long ago, not to excuse any bad behaviour or poor behaviour off the course, but we're in an age now where nothing is hidden, right? Nothing is secret, nothing is sacred. Everything, all of your dirty laundry is likely gonna come out at some stage. Perhaps trying to separate the artist from the backroom stuff might be the way that we have to go about things. And the parallels that were drawn in the way, I'm going to have to look this person up who I heard this from, but the parallels that he drew from was, you go and see, insert artist name here, AC/DC or the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. You go and see them play, and you're not really that fussed about what they did the night before or what they did away from the concert. You went and enjoyed their artistry, you went and enjoyed their music. So separating that sort of personal and professional side of things might be the way we have to rank some of these players. But any other storylines that you're fascinated in this week, mate?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple, and I wanted to play you again, Nick Faldo. It's interesting now. He's getting more involved in social media, and because he's not doing the commentary anymore, but he's certainly keeping himself relevant. He went on a podcast and was asked about a man who's missed all 3 cuts at majors this year. That's Bryson DeChambeau, and he did not hold back in saying what he believes is the biggest problem confronting Bryson DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau, Sir Nick, playing alongside Scotty Scheffler. 3 missed cuts in the 3 majors so far, going for an unwanted calendar slam of missed cuts. What's going on for Bryson in the majors?
Slam, isn't it? We've got to name it.
What's happened to him in the majors? Because he's still doing it in Liv.
Yeah, it's classic. That's a whole part of the story. How they're superstars that live, then come over and can't do it. So that's all another story. And then they go back to be superstars. He has, I'd say it to his face, he has zero clue of strategy. I mean, you don't. He said it last year, and I think on TV, I'm going to go out and attack the links. Well, I've never attacked a link. You thread it, don't you? You feed it down the fairway. It's really important. You look at humps and bumps and everything. If I send it over and feed it, it nudges back into play. You don't think, I'll just bomb it down there. Can't see where I'm going. It's 20 yards wide. Oh yeah, good luck. I mean, on all this. Even if it's fantastic, it lands on a corner of a divot, you still miss the fairway. So you've got to think, how do I get it on the short grass? It is so important. And here stand up and just keep bombing away, and they think, they got, get it further down. But you can be completely blocked out on a link.
So that leaves you in no doubt whatsoever, Lynchy, about what Nick Faldo thinks about Bryson and the way he goes about it, whether it be the bomb and gouge. I mean, everyone calls Bryson the scientist of this and that. And I think people get confused about, well, hang on, but doesn't he put all this thought into all of these things? Isn't he the tinkering and then this and that and everything like that? But is what Nick's saying is that, that's all well and good to be going and working on, 3D printers of this and have the same length of that, and this club will do that and everything like that. But he's talking about course management, is he not?
Yeah, a lot of what he was saying was around that, but he was very vocal in the fact that he didn't think that Bryson was able to course manage himself around the golf course. But it's kind of the modern game, unfortunately. That's just the strategy, and the course management is a little bit different to when he was playing. In fact, significantly different with the equipment that we're using. So I think it's interesting seeing a different side to Nick Faldo. Maybe it would have lasted a little bit longer if he had some of these hot takes while he was working for CBS. I'm not sure.
I'm enjoying it. And the other one is worth a shout out, the former truck driver Joe Dean, who Monday qualified and is sleeping in his car. I think that's a story to watch and unfold. And there's always the thing about the Open is there's always someone who comes out of relative obscurity and becomes the feel good or the you've never heard of this guy before until now. Whether it was Alex Fitzpatrick a couple of years ago, for those who weren't following the DP World Tour maybe as closely, there's always someone who emerges. But Lynchy, just before we get into our selections, our schoolyard rules, just for people who are going to be watching this, you've done a great job in setting up the course and how it's going to play. What's the thing that people need to keep top of mind in when they're trying to figure out who they think's going to win this? What kind of players should they be being drawn to for their own selections? Who does this course suit?
Yeah, I sort of mentioned this a little bit ago, but I think it really suits the players who are tighter in all the fine margins. So it doesn't look like we're going to get any crazy weather this week. It doesn't look like we're going to get half the field wiped out, which can sometimes happen in an Open Championship, and that's kind of where you are more likely to get a kind of unknown commodity sort of shoot up the leaderboard and take advantage of the good conditions. Looks like we're going to have a pretty fair test across the board. So it's really hard to go past the elite of the elite. As I said, it's the fairest test. If you miss by a lot, you will be punished. If you miss by a little, you'll be less so punished. So, I mean, look, the guys at the top of the list there are Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler. I'm not too concerned about Scotty's miscut last week necessarily, but Matty Fitzpatrick's had an incredible year. Look, any great ball striker should be there or thereabouts at the end of the week. I think Wyndham Clark, even though he won the last major, still kind of flies under the radar a little bit. He's been playing incredible. Chris Gotterup's been playing incredible golf as well. So anyone who's in good form at the moment, keep your eye on, because there's not as much quirk, there's not as much fairness or unfairness around this Open Championship this week. It'll be about who can control their ball and who can control their trajectory and who can pitch the ball where they need to pitch it for the best outcome. One other thing that I would say to anyone who's watching this week, I know it's tempting to sort of watch the telecast that they put on, but particularly over the Thursday, Friday, which I'll be doing this afternoon as soon as it comes on. I can't wait. I did this a little bit last week for the Scottish Open. Watch the featured groups. So the featured groups will give you two groups, and they'll show you every single shot of those two groups. Usually they're quite interesting groups, quite high profile players, so it's fun to watch anyway. But you get to know the course a little better, you get to know the shots that they're trying to play a little better, you start to get to sense of whether or not someone's struggling, and you get to see how they bounce back from a poor shot, or how they, you don't just see the highlights of someone's round. Watching someone build their round, especially on Thursdays and Fridays, where you're starting to try to understand the golf course, that's a great way to go and watch golf. And you'll realize very quickly that these guys hit a lot of poor shots, and they're just incredibly good at getting the ball up and down and minimizing the damage as well. You'll even see guys, obviously, in some of the bunkers this week, potentially pitching out sideways and making sure that they don't make anything more than a bogey. So that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, and if you want to have the straight coverage on your iPad, or have one-on-one, have the TV on the featured groups, and then have the iPad on the and you won't miss a thing. Hey, just a quick shout out to when this gets up, it's probably nighttime on a Thursday night anyway, and round one will be underway. But we do have a really healthy contingent of Aussies taking part in this Open Championship. So at 4:08 tomorrow, Cam Smith starts his second round with Keith Mitchell and Stuart Grehan, the amateur. 6:03 p.m, Lucas Herbert and Bud Corley, Jaden Shaper. Adam Scott is playing with Chris Gotterup and Sam Burns. That's a great grouping at 6:25 tomorrow. Cameron John Lynchy playing in his very first major, a multiple winner on the PGA Tour of Australasia last year, earned his way in via Singapore, I reckon it was. Austin Truslow and Sam Bairstow, he's teeing off at 7:53 for his second round. The Kiwis, Daniel Hillier, Ryan Fox at 8:52 and 9:03. Trav Smythe playing in his third major, his second Open, Order of Merit winner on our tour. He's been doing some videos, getting in and around and out and about in town. Minwoo Lee with Ben Griffin and Hideki Matsuyama at 11:30 tomorrow night, their second round. Not long after that, Jason Day, Justin Thomas, Alex Noren's a great group at 11:53. Kazuma Kabori, another Kiwi in the field as well. That's a good contingent of Australasians, Lynchy.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And some good groups in there as well. I'm hoping that one of them finds a feature group. I'm curious your thoughts. Did the RNA or these guys do Scotty Scheffler a little disservice this week, or do you think that's what the people want? Did you see his grouping? He's playing with Tyrrell Hatton and Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, the bloke won the Open last week. I thought that was a curious pairing myself.
I think, well, you got the local in there with Tyrrell. You got the biggest YouTube golf sensation on the planet, Bryson, and and him and Scotty have played Ryder Cup together as well. I mean, I don't know. I mean, who do you think he should have been with? I mean, it's a pretty high profile group.
Certainly is. Yeah, certainly it is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. No, I was just curious by it. I thought, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure that Scotty Scheffler would have picked that group if he had the option as the current champion golfer of the year.
Brings the claret jug back, and it's always a great bit of ceremony when they do bring the claret jug back in. This would probably be the last major too, Lynchy, with a live contingent. We still it's all quiet on the live front. As we get further and further, closer and closer to the end of the year, it's
maybe
as we go. The longer we go, the less likely it is that it continues. So this could be quite an historic for that reason as well.
Certainly.
And then what happens hereafter? Should we get into the draft?
Yeah, I think we'll get into the draft, but I believe there is another ruling in place in terms of don't spit the dummy. So otherwise, I think Waco Neiman might be able to play pretty well this week. Let's hope he can keep those extra shots off the scorecard.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Let's get into the draft, mate.
Lynchy, we've got a new way of doing our selections now, a little game that you brought to us last week. So 6 pairs, and we found these people on either the same or similar lines of betting. And essentially, last week we tossed the coin. You won the toss. You got to pick first. So this week I'm going to pick first. But essentially, we're just going back and forth and picking from 2 pairings that have been put together for us. And come up with our teams, and then the lowest score across the 4 days wins, and then the lowest score wins, and whoever gets the win gets to set the challenge for the loser. We happy with all that?
Sounds good to me, man.
All right, beautiful. The first group that we've got here is we always start off with the 2 favourites. So Scotty and Rory. But it is my selection this week, isn't it?
Sure. We're not going to toss a coin every week. You're welcome to take it this week if you like.
Do that. We should do the toss the coin, shouldn't we?
It's going to be a hard thing to keep remembering, I reckon.
Hang on, what have I got? I'll just dig in and find the first coin that I can. What's this one? Here we go. Last week it was the Callaway ball marker. This week it is the 7 Mile Beach ball marker. Hello to Matty Goggins. I'm sure you're listening in the team down there. All right, here we go. Well, you called last week, didn't you? So I call this week.
You call this week.
Righto, here we go. Heads. It is a tail, so you get first pick again.
Okay. Well, I think these guys probably deserve a little bit more talking about, but Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, I think they're favourites for a reason. Rory, just to me, in his press conferences, he just seems like a bit of a different player at the moment, more so than he was a couple of years ago before he secured the career Grand Slam. Seems a lot more assured in himself, and I know that he would dearly love to knock off another claret jug. So I'm going to take Rory this week over Scotty Scheffler, Sammy.
Yeah, obviously the win that he's had 2014, I think, if memory serves, he's had 7 top 10s and was 4th there in 2017. So, yeah, you would have had to have taken him. Scotty, the defending champ, he's been top 10 in 2 other Open Championships, so I'm more than happy to have him. And missed his first cut last week for the first time in God knows how long. So I'm expecting him to bounce back in a big way. Second pairing,
love this one. Tommy Fleetwood versus Matty Fitzpatrick. No losers here. I'm glad I've got the second pick.
At the start of the year, I said Tommy Fleetwood would win a major. That was one of my predictions. So given that this is the last major of the year, this was the one that I thought that if he was going to win, he would. Sport loves a fairy tale. It loves a feel-good story. It loves a good guy. We need a good guy. We Wyndham had to play the villain at the last one. This guy is just beloved in golf. So I think this is Tommy Fleetwood's time. He's had 3 top 10s at Open Championships. He was tied 27th back in 2017. He was a much younger player. I'm more than happy. I know Matt Fitzpatrick brings a better form line, but I think this is the storyline is Tommy Fleetwood. Come on, Tommy.
I think I'm very glad I got Matty Fitzpatrick. This is going to be really look, if he can get it done. I mean, I think the greatest stories this week will obviously be Justin Rose or Tommy Fleetwood. They would be the feel good stories, no doubt about that.
What if they're playing together, best mates?
Imagine if Justin Rose went down in another playoff to Tommy Fleetwood after going down in 2 Masters playoffs. But look, Matty Fitzpatrick has won 3 times on tour already this year. He's had a couple of runner-up finishes so far this year. I personally think he's one of the hottest players on the planet. I would actually have him as the number 3 player in the world. Not sure what the official world golf rankings are at the moment, but I think he is that good. He's actually probably my sneaky selection this week, I reckon.
All right, the next group, then I know who you're going to pick here. Justin Rose or Tyrrell Hatton?
I'm definitely, for the reasons already mentioned, I've got to take Justin Rose. Even if my head was saying Tyrrell Hatton, I just can't not take Justin Rose. At the moment, I'm shaping up with exactly the board I would have liked to have had. I mean, went so close a couple of years ago, got pipped by Xander Schauffele. This is the one that he wants. He started his career here in terms of his majors and his great finishes at this venue. So I think all the stars may line up for Rosie this week. I really hope they do, mate.
$31.34 for them. Yeah, I mean, I was just watching Justin Rose had to qualify a couple of years ago when he went head-to-head with Xander Schauffele on the final day when Xander, in that dominant year when he won 2 out of the 4 majors. But Justin Rose, just the amount of putts that lipped or edged in that 4 or 5 hole stretch after he got off to such a hot start. He had the second lowest round of the day, and as he said, the only problem was that the guy I was playing with went 2 shots lower.
Exactly right.
He did everything he could. So yeah, he will be. I mean, maybe the most popular winner of all time if he can get a win there. But Hatton's had 2 top 10s, 5 top 20s in total. He did miss the cut there in 2017, but this is a guy that's won 3 Dunhill Links. It's a guy that plays links golf really well. So I'm okay with having him.
Totally.
I think he's he could win this. He's good enough to win this.
4th pick, mate. So we've got Aaron Rai, a major champion this year, and Alex Fitzpatrick, who was part of one of the 3 wins that Matty, his brother, has secured so far this year, and it's given him the US Tour card, and he's played incredibly well since getting onto that tour. So Aaron Rai or Alex Fitzpatrick.
Amazing that these guys like Aaron Rye's only $10, like 61 and 71. Like Aaron Rye's a major winner and he's still only 60. I think the market's has underrated him.
An Englishman as well.
Yeah, and an Englishman as well. I'm a bit stunned that he's so far out in odds. So I'm going to take Aaron Rye.
Love it. I think that's probably the right pick, I would say. But I'm excited to see Alex Fitzpatrick go. I mean, he's been playing great this year. As I said, he's taken this opportunity with both hands, and he did play really well in his most recent Open Championship. So I'm happy to have Alex Fitz. I've got both the Fitzes on Team Lynch.
Fitzpatrick family. Well, golf's a family affair for you, so
exactly
only
right.
Right that you have. This is off the back of the Scottish Open, clearly. Minwoo Lee or Tom Kim?
Oh, goodness gracious me. This is a hard one. I would have preferred to have the second pick here. I've got to take... Oh, geez, Tom Kim's in really good form. He's been playing really well, played well at the US Open as well. But it feels un-Australian to not take Minwoo Lee. If I was barracking for 2 blokes down the stretch, I know who I would be barracking for. Therefore, I will take Minwoo Lee in the schoolyard selection. Sammy, leave you with Tom Kim.
I was hoping you'd go the form there, but I would have taken Minwoo as well for many reasons. I mean, he's part of the Callaway family, of course, but this is a guy that plays other clubs off the tee so well. Like he's gonna if he can get it going. You know, he hits his driving iron so well. His mini driver he uses, I think, now really well. Also, the quantum there. If he gets in positions, he's going to be. Yeah, I think he could really turn it on. And we're all sort of waiting for that major when he does. He was tied 21st in 2022 when Cam won. He missed the cut, though, in the last 2 Opens, but so did Tom Kim, who was tied for second in 2023. So happy to have Tom there. I would have taken Minwoo as well.
I like that. Number 1 and number 2 from last week. Let me ask you this while we're still selecting. Do you think winning the event before a major is a good thing or a bad thing?
You asked me this last week, and I said I was going to go and look at the numbers on it, and I bloody forgot. I reckon
it's never a bad time to win, but I just
but
wonder
they do
whether
say that what's the event just before the Masters that you don't tend to win that and then go on like it doesn't have a great.
It's hard to back it up. There's no doubt about that. It's probably the hardest sport in the world to back up. But I mean, he's in good form. I'd rather probably be Minwoo Lee. I think he might take the positives from that.
Did Xander win the Scottish Open and then win the Open?
No, he won the 2022 Scottish Open, and then in 24 he won the Open Championship. But I mean, look, it has, as I said, never a bad time to win, particularly in this game that we're playing, because it's all about what you shoot total. You don't have to go out and win.
All right, well, you've got the last pairing to throw my way. I'll get the last pick.
Yeah, I thought we'd go number 1 and number 2 on the PGA Tour of Australasia Order of Merit.
Hey.
Cam John playing his first major, as you mentioned, and Trav Smythe playing his third major this week.
That's a great one to throw up. That is a really good one. I feel like I can't lose either way. I think I'll take Trav just for the experience, but Cam has a confidence that I don't think he'll be daunted at all. But I've been watching Trav's videos, and he's really comfortable. He's really confident. He's relaxed. He said, "I'm really nervous, but I'm so excited." That's often a really good mix, because if you're just nervous, then I'll stay away from you. But yeah, I'll take Trav, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, no wrong answers here. I think the experience is very, very important. I know Cam John is over there. He's got Dennis McDade over there. I played with Dennis's son, Connor, today, which was good fun. But he seems incredibly ready for this challenge. He's got all the shots in the bag. He hits it a mile. Great putter. Good short game. I always think that Cam John is better when he's chasing. So if he can get off to a couple of nice early rounds, if he can put a nice solid round 1 together, I think that if he can play with some fearlessness and try and make some birdies out there, I think he can shake it up a little bit. I know that he was very, very disappointed to end up getting knocked off after winning multiple times in Australia last year and not getting that Order of Merit title, because it does significantly change his year. So a lot of things going well for Cam John at the moment. He's about to become a dad. His wife, Georgie's pregnant at the moment. They're expecting very soon. He's got his whole family over there. He's got his whole team over there. He'll be feeling comfortable, and he's been soaking in the experience. I know, just a couple of words to him over the last couple of days. So excited to watch those 2 young guys from Australia get their crack.
Absolutely. And the other watch for this is the Live guys, because they haven't had a tournament in a month. They've had to do it their own way, and for some that's been okay. Like we've seen during the week videos of Cam and Herbie over there playing the course and getting reps in, and but Cam's been warming up in Florida, so it's going to be really interesting to see how the Live guys go with a prep that's probably not ideal. Their next event I don't think is till Mexico, so I don't even know if they're doing London. So it's a curious preparation for them. We'll see. I'm expecting Rahm to bounce back though. Let's just quickly recap So I've got Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, Aaron Rai, Tom Kim, and Trav Smythe. You've got
Rory McIlroy, Matty Fitzpatrick, Justin Rose, Alex Fitzpatrick, Minwoo Lee, and Cam John. I'm stoked with my team. I love my lineup. I'm feeling very comfortable as the footy captain in the schoolyard here with my crew.
The winner gets to choose a club that the other has to take out of their bag when we play Kerr Lewis for the Teed Up Boys Charity Day.
Oh, okay. No worries.
You happy with that?
No, that's fine. I don't mind. Oh, we get to play one game a week, mate. Be lucky to have one of the cards taken out.
You said it has to make you better. You said it has to make you better. This will make you better.
Maybe.
All right, let's get into the scramble.
I like it.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
I'm a great scramble partner.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Yeah, I did a few things here and there.
We've already gone through a lot of the news items because most of them are around the Open Championship this week. So, Lynchy, a new part of the scramble each and every week now is Gimme or Putt That, where we just throw some questions in and around golf, whether they be at the highest level or just in the everyday golfer's world, and get a yes or a no. A gimme means, the affirmative. A putt that means, nah, I'm going to have to make you see that out. And if we want a bit more of an explanation, we'll say, give me a read, please. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start. John Rahm saying this week that he would welcome and be open to a fifth major, being an international major that rotates around the world. He said he's seen what's happened in Australia and he thinks that Australia could easily host a fifth major. So should the fifth major be an international major that goes somewhere different around the world each year?
I'll take my hat off, concede the match and say that's a gimme. Thanks to the game. That couldn't be more for this, obviously. As we've spoken about before, it likely won't happen given that it's the PGA of America's whole deal, but I would like to see the PGA travel around at least every other year, biannually, even if you want to take a leaf out of the World Cup and the Olympics and do it every 4 years would be fine as well. But I loved John Rahm's comments this week and very happy.
Because they've been saying the players and Brandel, he towed the company line earlier in the year saying that should be the fifth major. Everything they're doing at the moment is geared towards a better broadcasting deal. If they're not looking at what that means on an international scale, then they're probably not doing the sport the justice it needs, because the broadcast deals are huge for money that goes to the players. So if the players are saying they're into it, and you can tie that into some broadcast deals around the world, then I think it's more. I actually don't. I'm not as skeptical as you. I think that there's, at the moment, with this administration that's in place, the PGA, I think that's more of a chance than it ever has been of possibly being a reality. So I'm all in on that.
You're very bullish. You've got a lot more confidence than me. My first question, mate, is poignant for this week. The Open Championship is the best major championship.
This is an asshole of a question because
I know. I was so excited to write it down.
The best. Okay. I'm gonna putt that. I'm gonna putt that.
Fair.
Oh,
totally fair.
With chagrin that I putt that.
I mean, you could easily say, "I'll putt that," and my answer is, "I'm not sure." I mean, if you wanted to play the line like that, mate.
I just think that Augusta's done on such a level because it's at the same venue every year. It has that above all else. But like I've always said, if you couldn't win the Masters, you'd be picking the Open. I mean, it is the oldest. It's probably the most prestigious. It's interesting the way the players hold. If you watch Jordan Spieth's acceptance speech in 2017, like it almost brought me to tears. That's the best I've ever heard him speak. Ian Baker Finch's acceptance speech, like it is overwhelming, for the players to win that too. So I just think it's because the Masters is at Augusta every year and it's done on a level that they can't do anywhere else because they don't do it at the same place everywhere else. So I would say if you're saying best, I'd say that one. But yeah, it's a line ball. It's a line ball.
All right,
yeah,
love it.
Yeah. People yelling, "Get in the hole."
That's a very quick putt. That is, no good. I mean,
is that play? Can we just agree that's played out? Surely, like, what's the point of that now?
Yeah, I think that it could be valid in certain scenarios if it actually looks like it's going to go in the hole. I think you can barrack for it, but no, yelling "Get in the hole" when someone's hitting a driver on a par 5 or something, that is an absolute putt. That's
to me, that's the equivalent of Aussie, oi, oi, oi. It just
maybe right circumstance.
People
who knows?
Yell out "taxi" when someone spills. Like that's the category. That's the group that it fits into.
Yeah, fair
that's
enough.
That's
All
enough.
Right. My second question to you, Sammy, is again Open related. The Monday final qualifying that they hold at the course for the Open Championship is a good idea.
No, gimme. Yeah, gimme. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was interested in this as well, and I think that if you've ever been to a major or you've ever been to a golf event and you go on days that aren't tournament days, it can be a little bit slow. And I thought that this was a great way that if you had a ticket for a Monday, you could go and watch some competitive golf. You could go and get a feel for the golf course. You could get a sense as to guys that are truly trying to play their best 18 holes of golf. You could get a sense of how people are playing it strategic wise, what worked well, what didn't. It gives you a reason to go out and watch players that are on the bubble of as to whether or not they would get in or not. And I thought that was a great idea, great initiative, and I'll look forward to watching it further.
All right, this is a bit of a long question, but
okay.
Austin Kim was filmed by At Your Best Golf. This is not a crack at her. Because she's not breaking any current rule. Well, or is she? She did 3 aim points, read the low point of the full putt, then went and did it at the halfway, then went and lined up the putt again, then got into her stance. Now, what I've just explained to you was a fraction of the time it took her to do what I just explained to you. It took her 1:40 and then some to have a putt at the Evian. Golf has to implement a shot clock that is visually on the screen from the moment that you are on, from the moment that it is your turn, and it starts, you have 30 seconds for the shot, 45 though if you're playing first, because the others can talk to their caddy in the time that you get to do that.
Yeah.
30 seconds, 45 if you're first to go. I don't care if you're fairway, tee or green, enough's enough. We saw Keegan Bradley taking 2 minutes earlier in the year on a green. We saw Cantlay taking about 2.5 minutes on the tee earlier in the year. It got to stop Lynchy. Got to get real. Actually, I'm supposed to be asking you this
me the question?
I've just turned it into an editorial. Yeah. Sorry.
Very good. Well, I'm somewhat in agreement with you, not as strongly as you are, but that is. Yeah, you can't be taking that long. So I can't remember what the actual question was. It went for a few minutes, but
give me
you can't be taking that
shot
long.
Clock.
I would like a shot clock. That is a gimme. Yeah. Particularly for putting. I think that when it's your turn to go and it's a windy or really raining day or like a really terrible condition day, if it takes you a little bit longer than 45 seconds, I think that they're good guidelines. You shouldn't be sitting there waiting for the squall to pass for 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. But it is an easy rule to adjudicate when you're on the putting green. When it's your turn, you've got 40 seconds, split the difference to hit your putt. And if you need a read beforehand or you want to walk around beforehand, by all means, go for it. But it is easy to adjudicate on the putting green. I don't know whether or not it's able to be done on lesser or tours that don't have the resources that the US tour might, or we certainly don't have enough rules officials to walk around with every single group. So I don't know how you adjudicate it. I guess you could probably adjudicate it in the same way that you adjudicate looking for a golf ball. But again, that has its flaws as well. So that was ridiculous. I saw that video. Can't be having that. No. My third question for you, Sammy, is music out of a speaker on a golf course.
I'll need a read on that. I'll need more clarification.
Yeah,
give me the setting. Because my answer would vary depending on the situation.
Okay, club comp. I'm coming to meet you for the first time. I say, Sammy, nice to meet you. I've got a little speaker. I enjoy listening to music. Would you mind if I put some music on? I'm just going to have it hanging off my bag and it's going to kind of play in the background. Is there anything you like to listen to?
You've just done the whole conversation, a bit of role play.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Exactly.
Take that speaker. No, I'm kidding. Club comp. On a public course, I don't, like if it's public green fees time, like if it was at Chelt and it was in the time of the day that was green fees, I don't think I'd care. Yeah. I don't care when people are talking. I said this to a group I was playing with the other day. They were having a conversation and they were having what did you say? And then I went, keep talking. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Just, you keep talking. Music, I would probably say gimme on a public day or a charity day. But if it's club comp, just because it's not just about me, I wouldn't really care. But I'll say Putt That because there will be people that do. So it doesn't.
This is for you, mate. This is a question for you.
Oh, then I'll probably say Gimme. If it's just low and it's not obtrusive, I don't like when you go to the beach and somebody decides that they're the DJ for the whole fucking beach. Like the whole, you bring your speaker and pump. Like who elected you as the person that picked the music? But if they've just got a little speaker and it's quiet and it's not obtrusive to everyone else, then I might say gimme, but it wouldn't take much for it to get to Putt That for me. Like the margins
if you're out
are really
there with
fine.
Victor Hovland and he's playing his death metal or his real heavy stuff, that'd be
you'd leave your Rammstein at home, thanks. Off the back of what I was saying before, Lynchy, because what happens at the top level filters down to the lower level. Punters using aim point.
How much of a punter? I might need a read on that one as well. Depends
Anybody that's not playing PGA Tour Australasia or above in that moment.
Oh, look, yeah, not necessarily my favourite thing, but if it helps you shoot a lower score and you do it in the correct time frame and a reasonable time frame, I'm all right with it. Gimme, yeah, that's fine.
All right, your second last question.
Yeah, my next one is groups of 5 on the golf course. Okay or not?
Putt That.
Yeah, fair enough.
Putt That.
Okay.
Slow play.
Too many.
People behind. Too many. Just break it down. Get more numbers or kick someone out. So you've been big on what you'd like to see with the golf ball rollback. Nick Faldo believes that he has a solution. That's 1-inch tees. He's got Rory doing it and talking about it. Nick Faldo says 1-inch tees. I actually went and did this today in the round that I played when I used driver. I used a 1-inch tee. It was fascinating to see what took place. Gimme or Putt That?
No, that's Putt That. It's a good idea. It's one step, but it's not going to solve everything. Jeff Ogilvy was talking about the 1-inch tee, reducing the tee length many years ago, and that has had a fair bit of chatter around it in the golf circles for quite a long time. I think that it'd be great. It would probably help a little bit, but it's a little bit more holistic than that. I think we need a few more things as well as that tee height.
Let us know what you thought of Gimme or Putt That. Send all your feedback, courselanguagepodcast@gmail.com or at Course Language Pod on Instagram. Send us your Course Language Confessionals as well. Lynchy, quick mulligan before we finish off with this week's Course Language Confessional. And this is going to me.
Yeah, it is.
So last week, we did a shout-out to a couple of lads from back in my neck of the woods, my hometown of Bendigo at the Great Nyanga Park Golf Club. You go up there every year for the Pro-Am. We got sent the story about these two young guys who had played in the Vic Ams, the Junior Vic Ams at Baruga. Ryan Hender sent it in, and I screenshotted it, brought it to the pod, said I'll give these guys a shout out. Didn't realise that the names weren't actually in the screenshot. I needed to click on the article to give them. In the podcast, I said, Ryan, you should have sent us the names. He's got back in touch with us and said, yeah, mate, click on the article and you'll find them.
Yeah.
So, to Frankie Nile, who came in a tie for second, and Archie Alston from the Nyanga Park Golf Club, who came in a tie for fourth. Congratulations, lads, again. Great performance at the Junior Vic Ams. And the mulligan this week is me.
I think it's us, to be fair. I could have clicked on it while you were talking about it as well. So I can take a hand in that mulligan as well. I do apologise, fellas. Well played. Very, very good stuff.
All right, let's finish off with the confessionals we like to do each and every week on Course Language, all thanks to Callaway. We've got to go watch the Open, Lynchy. I love this because finally someone has put their voice to a recording. They've sent it to me. I may have been there when this unfolded, but a big thanks to Brendan from the Cheltenham Golf Club, who I played with the other week, and he had a little moment. Let's have a listen.
Course, playing with Sam. We've always had the flat tee markers. My turn to drive off the second. I've hit a flush, but really low to the ground. Instead, we've got these brand new tee markers that stand up nice and tall. I've absolutely middled the left one, and it's flown about 10 metres down the fairway. Worst part is my ball has ricocheted sideways and ended up next to the path. Further up the hole as we were walking, I look across the fairway and saw the older bloke who installed them. Naturally gave him a bit of stick. His group thought it was funny, so at least someone enjoyed the shot. The best part, after all that, I somehow scrambled together a 5, took my 2 Stableford points, and got out of there before I could do any more damage. Thanks, fellas.
How good's that?
That is excellent stuff. Excellent stuff.
That was Brendan from Cheltenham. He absolutely flushed the drive. Was low down, but he was trying to play low, a little low running draw on the second hole just to work it around the corner. The ladies' tees now are beautifully crafted from Pete McGann at the club, I've got to say. But they sit up about that high, these little wooden things with the paint on the top. And he did. It tumbled. I reckon it went about 20 metres. It was just tumbling end over end. The ball just went to the left. So the tee marker went further than his ball, Lynchy. And as he's just so luck would have it, there's Pete coming down the other fairway.
No way.
He waves home, these bloody teammates. It was all
That's a good 5. That is a good 5, to be fair.
It was amazing because he was on the path. He had to figure out the relief, and he did a really good job. But yeah, it was all in good fun, giving Pete a spray as well. But
so he's teed the ball up in the wrong spot. Put himself behind a potential TIO, has he? Those tee markers are there.
Well, I don't think he
I'd be having a laugh. No,
it was very funny.
I'm taking the mickey.
It was very funny. So, Brendan, because you've done what we've always been asking, and that's record yourself doing it, you kept the language, which was great as well. It helps with our...
That is a good one.
So you are going to be getting your choice of a Callaway Quantum hat, which is that one up there, and a Travis Matthew cap as well, which is coming your way. We've still got a few more of those to give away. So if you've got a great Course Language Confessional, send it to courselanguagepod@gmail.com. courselanguagepodcast@gmail.com, or you can record your voice at Course Language Pod on Instagram. There's a function there to record it, or just record it on your phone and send it through to us via email or via Instagram as well. Don't forget, buy Callaway Quantum Driver at the moment. Get a box of Chrome Tour balls. It's a special deal happening right now, thanks to our good friends at Callaway. Buy 8 pieces of the Quantum range, and they'll throw in a Callaway bag as well. At the start of the show, Lynchy, we spoke about our competition for the Callaway Chrome Tour July Major Series limited edition golf ball. Just jump on our Instagram. We're going to get a post up there. Tag 3 friends you'd like to take to Royal Birkdale. They can be 3 celebrities. It doesn't really matter to us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow the podcast on wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do those 4 things, and you're in the draw for that box of limited edition Callaway Chrome Tour July Major golf balls. I'll take a breath.
It's going to be a great week. We've had Peter Thompson, Ian Baker-Finch etch their names into the claret jug here at Royal Birkdale this week. Let's hope another Aussie can do just the same, and if not, maybe an Englishman. I think it could very well be somebody who's been around the traps for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy did it as well. Enjoy the Open Championship week, Sammy. Enjoy watching it, everybody.
In a word, if there's one Aussie that you think's going to be, who's your highest finishing Australian?
Adam Scott.
Minwoo Lee. There we go. Hey, thanks, Lynchy. Great job. We'll speak to you all again next week. Thanks for listening to Course Language. Thanks for checking out our YouTube and our Instagram as well. Remember, what happens on course plays on Course Language.
Hit 'em well.